So I'm very intrigued with space law. If you go to the moon, who owns it? If you go to Mars, who owns it?
Right.
My job is to be creative. I think I'm pretty creative.
I think you're the coolest lawyer we know.
I know. Yeah, seriously.
So what we're doing is an interfaith dialogue
Wow.
to bring the different religions together. Well, the idea is to live for something larger than yourself.
Welcome on out, guys, to the Rhythm Investor Podcast. We are honored with so many guests that are doing amazing impact, and we have a very special one for you today.
We do. And here at the Rhythm Investor Podcast, we interview movers and shakers who are living life unapologetically unconventional. So today we have Mr. Bart Fischer. Bart, thank you so much for coming in the studio.
Pleasure to be here. Thanks for having me.
We are so excited. You are just a whirlwind of information, and you've educated us on so many different things. We're so excited. And so today's podcast, starts off with us, bringing in a friend of ours, but also someone who is so influential in international trade, in doing things unconventionally in that aspect. And to quote the Washington Post, what's the Washington Post?
Oh, yeah.
quote
So
here?
according to the Washington Post, this is back in, let me pull it up here. But basically, the Washington Post said that profiled you as a lawyer, that you are unorthodox, high profile, confrontational approach to international trade disputes. And that was back in 1982. So you're not a day over 30, Bart. I don't understand anything here.
29.
29.
Thank you.
So before we get into all these
That's how you
incredible
get
stories,
to be a friend.
Yes.
Yeah. Rhythm is about being in the right place at the right time.
Sure.
And I just thought we'd talk a little bit about how we met, because that's always a thing. People are like, well, how do you meet? So we had an event at the National Press Club where you have your office. And
Yes.
Yeah, well, I am a member of the National Press Club, and I just happened to be having a lunch there with a friend, and a friend of yours,
Yes.
and we all struck
Beautiful, Lori.
that up. But it is good. The Press Club always has events. There's always 3 press conferences and some big speaker, and so there's always something going on. And it just so happened I wandered into your event, and I always feel if I'm not invited, I should be. So I got a free lunch. I mean,
Yep.
you took good care of me.
Yeah. And it was kind of serendipitous because really Lori was there to meet you for lunch.
Yeah.
And she just happened to text me saying, hey, I'm in DC. And then it kind of started just pinpointing to the exact moment where we figured out that we were in the same building and that you guys were meeting at the same time that we were having our event. And so it was so beautiful. It was synergistic. And then we met you and hit it off right away. Had an amazing
We
time
clicked.
there.
We clicked.
It was just
Yeah,
magical
we clicked.
how that happened. I think it was meant to be. And to be honest, that was one of the first times that I had met Lori also, in person, which is, I met her so many times on Zoom because she
Oh, sure,
travels
sure.
quite frequently.
Yeah.
But it was kind of a meeting of the minds, and we've been friends ever since. And so the serendipity also just happened to be that we are in the space of deals and investing, and on that side of business too, we vibed. And so we're so grateful for Lori for her friendship and now your friendship.
Yeah.
I was telling Bart we would have been completely showing everyone our picture on the wall at the National Press Club, but it wasn't until I was there at the Embryo event, and it was like 11 p.m. and we were just setting up a LED wall for a client, and I'm like, what does it take to get on this wall? And I'm looking at Nelson Mandela and all these incredible people, and then I turn to the right and I see this picture from 2011, this cultural event. I was like, oh yeah, it kind of looks familiar. And then there we are on the wall.
Yeah, you were on the wall.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
there's like
So
16 other
you've
people there.
arrived.
And you know what Bart told me? He said, but you're on the wall. And
Pretty cool.
That is very cool.
Pretty cool.
So Bart, tell us. Let's start at the beginning of your journey. So from St. Louis,
Yes.
tell us a little bit about kind of how this incredible life from philanthropy to being a trade lawyer to representing countries from Sudan to China to Iceland. Where does it all start, Bart?
Well, the key point now is I'm in Washington, D.C., which is,
Yes.
in my opinion, not just the capital of the United States, but the capital of the world. Everyone is coming here to kiss the ring. We have a new sheriff in town, new administration, changes in the air. And there's just so much going on. Literally every day is shock and awe, and you don't know what to expect. And so that's reminiscent of the first Trump term, but exponentially more so, because he had 4 years to figure out what he would do when he got in power, and he knows a lot more what the levers of power are, and he's pulling everyone he can think of.
Yes.
So my area is trade, international trade and investment. I do joint ventures all over the world, and right now I'm working in the Philippines, for example, but also South Africa, Zimbabwe, Namibia, lots of places, South Sudan, lots of places most people don't go to, but also India, and that's hot right now. India is very hot. As so many U.S. companies have become disaffected with China, they're shifting production to India.
Sure.
And so there's tremendous opportunity with India, I think. I've been working there. And basically, I do trade, international trade, whatever moves across borders, goods, services, or capital. And that includes investments. And so it's a very broad practice. But I've been doing it since 1972. I've been at the game a long time.
Wow.
Wow.
And the quote you gave of being controversial and high profile is I've calmed down a lot since. Still relatively noisy.
What does that mean?
Well, it means
on a scale of 1 to 10, what does that mean?
It's an 11. If you're my client, I will lay my body on the railroad tracks for you, and I mean that. And people know that word gets out that I'm a fighter, and I will fight for you.
Amazing.
And that's the nature of the beast. In our system, you have what we call the adversary system of justice. You go to the court, and each side has a lawyer. And that's the lawyer's job, is to present the best possible case for his client.
That's right.
And that means maybe it's the kitchen sink. You don't know what it is, but you'll find an argument that works. And that's my job. I think the problem with most lawyers is you go to them with a problem. The lawyer will tell you 19, you're an entrepreneur. You want to do something. You're a venture person. And the lawyer says, well, here's 19 reasons it won't work. They'll point out all the pitfalls.
Yeah.
And the real good lawyer is the one who finds that one thing that threads the needle, that makes the project work. Wow. It's creative, and you've got to really be creative in this business to be effective. That's what I think my job is, to be creative. I think I'm pretty creative.
I think you're the coolest lawyer we know.
I know. Yeah, seriously.
Because we were joking. We're like, are we actually going to have our first podcaster or podcastee of this podcast be a lawyer? And we're like, no, it's the coolest person ever.
Yeah. And that's the difference, because you're making things happen, and that's always been our opinion. We joke about that. Like, who's a lawyer really working for? Are they really working for us, or they're working for the other side? Because you get those roadblocks, and so it's so fascinating that you said that. So you're very unconventional on that side of things, obviously. So working with entrepreneurs, can you tell us a couple stories of things? What was the unconventional stories that you could share, if you can share any?
I'll just talk about what I'm doing now, actually, which is unconventional. Is we're working for a company that wants to be the FedEx for space. So I'm doing space law. When you're a lawyer, you want to be in a field that's in the future. You want to look around the corner and say, what's coming down? And what's the next new thing? And for me, space law is the next new thing. There are thousands of satellites floating around in space, debris just floating around. And there's a Japanese company, for example, that is being very successful collecting debris in space. Wow. And that's new. I mean, that wasn't there 50 years ago.
Wow.
But now you have SpaceX and these companies launching thousands of satellites a year. And so I'm very intrigued with space law. If you go to the moon, who owns it? If you go to Mars, who owns it?
Right.
Whole new
uncharted territory. Yeah.
It's not unlike the law of the sea.
Wow.
When you were looking for minerals and nodules beneath in the ocean, who owns it? First come, first serve. Finders keepers, losers weepers. And so there was a treaty, and in fact, the U.S. never signed the law of the sea treaty because we didn't want to concede rights to anybody else.
Yeah.
So space is like law, like the ocean law. In that sense, it's the property of all mankind. Yeah. But still, if you get there, you should have some rights. And you spend a lot of money to get there.
Of course.
But from the national security standpoint also, it's a huge thing, because whoever controls space controls Earth. So there's a national defense element that you're dealing with DOD, NASA, defense, security. White House. And in fact, Trump created the Space Force during his first term. He's very committed to space, actually.
Yeah.
And in his inauguration speech said he wants to be the first president to plant the American flag on Mars. So
Wow.
that's exciting stuff. So I get turned on by exciting new things.
Yeah.
Now, another thing that I know you're excited about is digital law.
Yes.
And I think everything is going digital, literally, and artificial intelligence. That was your conference,
Yeah.
right? AI and
That's
right.
digital services.
right.
And that's really the future of money, currency, and so much. So I call it digital law, and I've redone my whole website to say we offer digital services.
Wow.
So
I love
that's
how
new.
you-
You want
yeah.
to be on the cusp. And when I started on the trade front, it was new. Really, it was
Right.
arcane. Most people weren't doing it. But now everybody's got a trade department. It's a big deal.
Wow.
But it wasn't a big deal when I started.
Oh, yeah.
I can tell you that.
Wow.
And there were 5 of us in town who were doing trade, and it grew huge. And now it's a big deal, and Trump has made it a huge deal. It's the centerpiece of his agenda, actually, because he basically wants to replace the income tax with tariffs.
Wow.
So it's a whole new world of how the federal government can operate or should operate. So it's now become a front page issue, and so needless to say, I'm pretty busy.
Yeah.
And I love how, for the entrepreneurs, business people looking for that next step, someone as accomplished as yourself that still at this part of your journey looking towards the next frontier. And entrepreneurship is a lot like space, right? It's just never ending. There's never ending things that you can look for to push forward. Before you were talking about how, lighting that fire and doing things unconventional. Let's go back towards the beginning. Like, where did this fire start from? I mean, did you
How
have
did you
lawyers in
start-
your family?
And how did you start working with not even just people and entrepreneurs, but also countries? That's the most
We
fascinating.
want the backstory,
Yeah.
Bart.
Well, the key to working with countries, and that's the part I really like the most, representing governments, countries, is that we're in Washington, D.C. And when you're in Washington, D.C., we have the embassies here, and we have the ambassadors here. And the countries are represented here by the embassies and
Right.
the ambassadors. So
Yeah.
what I do is over time, I get to know the ambassador. And the ambassador will say, well, Bart, we have this problem with mining platinum or something. And they'll say, can you come back to the national capital and meet the finance minister? Maybe you can help us and advise us. So I end up going back to the country from D.C. It all starts with the embassies and the ambassadors and getting to know them. And then you lobby. The word lobbyist has sort of a negative connotation. But the origin of that word is pretty interesting, too, because it came from the fact that President Ulysses S. Grant used to sit in the lobby of the Willard Hotel. I'm sure you know the Willard
Yeah,
Hotel.
been there.
Yeah.
And he would sit in the lobby and dispense favors to petitioners in the lobby of the Willard Hotel. That's
that
really where
right?
the name
Wow.
lobbyist came from.
Wow.
And it was a notoriously corrupt administration, needless to say. And he's ranked generally as one of our worst presidents, although he's having a comeback.
Okay.
Some good biographies of him. But
Yeah.
basically, he was a down and out guy. He was selling wood on the streets of St. Louis before Lincoln put him back in charge. And so my metaphor for all this in the venture world and entrepreneurial world is a roller coaster. You're up and you're down, baby. You're
I love
up and you're
Yeah.
down. And
Yeah.
it's a roller coaster. And
Yeah.
that's really, you have highs and you have lows. You just
Yeah.
have to learn temperamentally and emotionally how you handle them.
That's right.
I found that I'm most vulnerable when I'm in a high. So, well,
Yeah.
I can do this, I can do that. I really can't. I think I can,
Yeah.
but I can't. So, but it's you have to temper the euphoria of the high. For me, the high is winning a case. I mean, you go
Sure.
to court, and each side has their own lawyer, and there's a judge, and each side puts forward its best case. And if you win, then the key to winning is you have to know more than everybody, including the judge and the other side. So,
Wow.
and I do trade. Each case I do most of my cases at an agency called the U.S. International Trade Commission, the ITC. It's in Washington, D.C. And there's an alphabet soup of trade agencies, agencies related to trade in D.C. 20 agencies handle trade, export, import bank. It goes on and on. So, but my cases are mostly trade, and they're at the ITC, and they involve what we call unfair trade practices. Let's
Mhm.
say China is dumping, they're selling at an unfairly low price. Or let's say the government of China is subsidizing, giving an unfairly huge subsidy. Or let's say the U.S. company is having its intellectual property knocked off in China, patents, trademarks, copyrights. And I get those cases. And it's interesting that in the 80s, the bad boy of international trade was Japan. You may remember those days. And now the bad boy of international trade is China.
Right.
And so the stunning thing that Trump has done is to now apply tariffs, not just to China, but to everybody.
Sure.
It's across the board tariffs.
Right.
So the real issue here is, has he overextended the concept of the tariff, which by the Constitution, that's the Congress that has to do tariffs. It's not the president. So if he wakes up one morning and he gets mad at Brazil because his buddy Bolsonaro is being treated unfairly in the courts, all of a sudden he puts a 50% tariff on Brazil.
Right.
They're not happy.
They're not happy.
So it's very detrimental. And it's been very detrimental to our international relations, our relations with other countries.
Yeah.
They're not amused.
Yeah.
Government of Thailand came my way recently, and they said, we don't understand why we have to pay a tariff of 39% on fruits and vegetables you don't even raise. So it's how we can get our tomatoes if Mexico can't bring them in.
Yeah.
It goes on and on.
Yeah.
So coffee is another good example. It's from Brazil and Colombia, and we don't grow coffee only in Kona coffee in Hawaii. That's it. They're trying to grow some at an experimental station in Florida, but basically we don't grow coffee. But why would we want to put a 50% tariff on coffee from Brazil? You tell me. I mean, it's stupid. It makes no sense.
Right.
So we have, at the moment, an idiotic trade policy.
Yeah.
So we're going to do a little segment we call a Rhythm Investor Rollback, where we're going to learn a little bit about how it all started. So St. Louis, take us back, Bart. We want to know, give us some highlights as
Were
to
you
your,
just
your
natural?
early journey.
I saw your podcast where you talked about you love putting on events when you get to this situation where the hearts are all beating as one.
Yeah.
That's a great metaphor. So my moment like that in high school, I went to Clayton High School outside St. Louis, was I put on the mock political convention in 1960.
Wow.
And I had the whole school and into politics. And it was Kennedy, JFK, and those were exciting days. Adlai Stevenson had run twice. Adlai Stevenson lost for the Democrats. And this bright new shining star, John F. Kennedy, comes along, and he won our convention. The point is, I dreamed up the idea to have a mock political convention.
Fun.
The kids all got into it, and so it was great. And then I was class speaker, and then I went to Washington University in St. Louis. But I was always interested in international relations. I'd watch the boats go down the Mississippi River and wonder where they were going and what cargo was on it. I just always international trade, and that's pretty unusual at that age.
Yeah.
I was focused on trade, and my desire was always to get educated on it. So I took a PhD in international trade at Johns Hopkins School of International Studies here, and then I went to Harvard Law School. So it's like a big joint degree on international trade.
Wow.
And when I got out, no one was as educated on it as I was at a very tender age. I was ready to rock and roll on trade.
Wow.
The only problem was the field didn't exist. And to come back to our thing about, I looked around the corner. So trade is going to be huge. And it became huge.
Wow.
And eventually I joined the firm. It was then called Patton Boggs. I was number 19 to join the firm. It grew to 600 lawyers. It was very successful.
Wow.
But a big part of it was trade. And my senior partner was a guy named Tommy Boggs, and he was from New Orleans, which is a port city, and he grew up. And his father, Hale Boggs, was the majority leader in the House of Representatives. It was a political family. And then when Hale got lost in Alaska in a plane accident, Lindy Boggs took over, and she became, Congress representative from the New Orleans area. So basically, I found the law firm that wasn't the most prestigious firm at the time, but I had the right guy, the right combination. As Tommy Boggs wanted to do trade.
Yeah.
He had a whole background of trade. So I walked into a situation where literally the first day I was at work, Tommy grabbed me by the shoulder. I got off the elevator. He said, we're going to go meet Russell Long, who at the time was senator from Louisiana and the most powerful man in the Senate, chairman of the Senate Finance Committee. And he said, you're going to tell Russell Long why America needs a free trade agreement with Mexico. And I said, sounds good to me. What did I know? So within an hour, I'm telling Russell Long about how to do a
Holy.
free trade agreement with Mexico. And of course, later we had NAFTA and we had all that.
Right.
But I didn't, I never had trepidation or fear or concern about meeting anyone in this town intellectually.
Wow.
Right.
Wow.
And I didn't know better. So it turned out, wow, he's really ranked first in his law class at LSU. He was a brilliant guy. And, but as far as I was concerned, and it's never stopped.
Wow.
And that was a meeting at the top. And this town is very interesting. There's more interesting people per square foot in this town than anywhere in the world, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they walk around downtown, as you know, like they're carrying the weight of the world on their shoulders.
Yep.
But guess what? A lot of them are.
Yeah.
And it's a serious place. It's a serious place. But I love DC because it's my little sandbox. I know the players. I know who sits at what table at the Madison Hotel restaurant, and I know at the press club who sits at what table.
Yeah.
And you get to that's all. And Hillary was right. It takes a village. It's a village, and you get to know this village. That's a large part of what I do as a lawyer representing people, trying to make a deal.
Yeah.
And most of my deals were trade related at U.S. Trade Representative's office, which is part of the executive office of the president, or the State Department, or the ITC. I'd plead a case, and then we'd make a deal. Because ordinary. All these countries are coming to Washington to make a deal on trade because otherwise they're going to get hit with huge tariffs. This week, 2 days ago, the president, your president, announced national security tariffs on bathroom vanities of 50%. Now, you tell me that's a national security issue, whether we have vanities in our bathrooms. My bathroom is nothing but vanity. I like the mirror on the wall. It's unbelievably stupid what is now going on.
Yeah.
And sure, we made, there is a valid argument for tariffs. Alexander Hamilton had it. It's called the infant industry argument. If you don't have an industry, you want to get like computer chips, and that comes back to your conference, artificial intelligence, robots. Infant industry argument is a valid argument for trade, for tariffs. Okay. Bathroom vanities, give me a break.
Yeah. It's crazy.
Furniture is also in that bag. And then kitchen cabinets. I mean, it's gotten so that, and Trump said tariffs are his favorite word in the dictionary. Well, guess what? Love is mine.
Yeah.
Well, and for
right.
those of you guys that
you figure that
Yeah.
out.
Oh yeah. Well, I remember there was one of these conversations that we had when we were having dinner, and you had said we had asked you, because you've been with your wife for so long, and we're like, so what's the secret? Because we're a married couple, and you said compromise. And so as you were saying that, the whole time and talking about these tariffs, it's been about compromise. Now it's kind of shifted, and so it's interesting on that side. Even as an American, we're parents. We are, we see different prices go up on different things. Food. So you mentioned even, coffee and whatnot.
Sure.
So that impacts the American as well, even though it's it's something that it's so high level, but it trickles down all the way down. And so how do we compromise and actually get back to that level of just understanding?
Actually, when you asked me the question, because I've been married 56 years, I said the answer to a successful marriage is the 2 C's. Communication and compromise.
That's right.
and we added
Because if
the
you don't
third C, which
communicate,
was comedy.
you got a problem. Oh, comedy.
Yes.
Yeah, laughter.
That's what we have.
remember that.
Yeah,
I got to throw a third.
Yes.
Yeah,
yes.
that's true too.
Yes.
Really, it is. You have to be able to laugh at it and enjoy it
Yep.
and have a good time.
That's right.
And but communication is key. You can't just brood around. I'm not happy about it. You got to tell the other person this is not working.
Yeah.
And then the compromise is key.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, you're not always going to get your way all the time, and you work together. But the laughter, I think that's good. But I've been able to laugh a lot too and enjoy it, enjoy the journey. But this trade thing I'm doing is incredible. To the theme of your program of entrepreneurship, it's very entrepreneurial because people are starting businesses like my client, Space Phoenix. They want to become the FedEx for space. He wants to start a new business of going up and back. The key is getting back because they burn up the modules. Yeah. So that's been a big issue for SpaceX.
Yeah.
The things burn up. So our focus is on the return. But we'll dock at the space station, et cetera.
It's funny you say about we were at an investor event in Miami, and these investors were pitching us on this balloon that goes to space. Very nice deck. And it was going to be for space travel. It goes very slow, comes back. And at the end of it, they said, well, what do you think? And I said, what could go wrong?
Well, it's funny you should talk about that because space tourism is one of the valid businesses.
Yeah.
People,
Wow.
there's enough people on this planet who will pay a lot of money,
Yeah.
like 250 grand or
Yeah.
$1 million even, to be up and back in 16 minutes or
Wow.
Yeah.
or an hour and 16 minutes.
There's a market for it. Yeah.
There's a
yeah.
market for it.
Crazy.
I know a guy he's out of actually out of Thailand, who has a space tourism business, very successful.
Wow.
And the good thing about it is, if you're in the VC business, venture capital, those are rich people. So those guys are rich. I can ask them for help on another investment. I mean,
That's
it's
right.
it's sort of the winnowing off of a list of rich people,
Wow.
which you're always looking for. What we call the deep pocket theory.
Yeah.
Find someone who can afford
Yeah.
the investment you're proposing. you know.
Right. Right.
So, but I love the debris thing, collecting debris from space.
That's brilliant.
Wow.
That's a Japanese company has that business, and they're successful.
Wow.
I love the space tourism business.
Would you go up in the balloon?
Would I?
Yeah. Knowing what you know.
No one's going up in that balloon.
Are you kidding? No, I have too much to live for.
I have too much to
At
live
this
for.
point.
That is
Yeah,
the
no, I
core
don't
of
think
this
I would go
podcast.
either. No,
But
yeah.
no, I mean the market for space tourism is huge. The market. I'm also doing another thing. It's I think innovative. I'm acting as an escrow agent for Bitcoin transactions, and Bitcoin is the future. I mean,
Yeah.
it's interesting. You got to realize BlackRock has accumulated $24 billion of Bitcoin. BlackRock.
Yeah.
Wow.
Those guys, Larry Fink and BlackRock, they're not stupid.
Oh, yeah.
And they're hoarding it. The banks are hoarding it, and the administration, this group, is very pro crypto. So
Yes.
the whole policy's changed. Well, you got that at your
Yeah.
conference.
Oh, yeah.
So basically, half of Trump's net worth is in Bitcoin. His crypto business is meme coin. So that's but you have a buyer and a seller, but then you deal with the exchanges, and they have all kind of problems, like either no redemption or slow redemption. I mean, it's a nightmare to deal with these exchanges. The lawyer is an objective intermediary, third party that you can trust, and so I've been very busy doing that for a variety of sovereigns and
Amazing.
individuals who want to get in the Bitcoin market.
Yeah.
But that's new, that's innovative. And I redid my whole website to offer digital services, which
So
is a new frontier in the law.
Wow.
So basically, you're looking for new frontiers.
But how
new
do you
markets.
stay? How do you stay? Because if it's a new frontier, such as space, I mean, you're literally like writing the rights out. Like, how do you even start there? Because how do you even start to compromise with other countries and say, hey, this should be my right, this should be your right? Like, I'm trying to wrap my head around those types of conversations being had.
How do you compromise? How do you compromise with this administration?
Yeah.
Vietnam's a good example. We did a trade agreement with Vietnam. And guess what? Trump got 2 hotels. Do you understand what I'm saying? So
Businessman.
this is how you do a deal. It's a family business.
Right.
Mm,
You feed the family. It's very unfortunate.
mm.
It's what Tammany Hall in New York used to call honest graft. It's graft in plain sight. So everyone sees what's going on. I mean, Vietnam got a trade deal.
Yeah.
Trump gets 2 hotels, one of them a luxury golf course resort. Welcome to Washington. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
This
No,
place-
it makes sense.
I mean, there is no bottom with
Yeah.
this group.
Wow.
There's no bottom.
Wow.
Each thing you think can't be more of a kleptocratic class gets worse. I've just started with my examples.
Yeah.
wow.
Oh, yeah.
You're right. I'm the mouth of the South. I'll talk about this one all day long. Because
I love
why? Why? It's corruption. I don't like corruption. I don't like it in Brazil. I don't like it here. America is now witnessing a new low. I mentioned Ulysses S. Grant before. It's an open question who was worse.
Mm.
Wow.
Mm.
And so it's corruption. And now you're in an environment that's toxic in this town. Why he loves the government shutdown. Trump wants this.
Mm.
Why? He can fire more people. Why? Then he
Right.
can hire his own people. It's all shifting out the guys. It's a way to winnow out people he doesn't consider as loyal. So he loves the shutdown. he protests. No, blame it on Democrats. No, he wants it because this way he can fire half the government. So we're dealing with, and of course, being in Washington D.C., you see the effects of that around
Of
town.
course.
I mean, the sentiment around town right now is it's heartbreaking because a lot of people don't have jobs right now. People that, have lost their jobs on both ends, both are government workers and then they don't have jobs. And, people are suffering left and right. I'm in a lot of moms groups and a lot of the moms are putting out there, hey, I'm not asking for a handout. What I'm asking for is for a job because I just lost my government job and I need to pay my mortgage.
Wow.
My mortgage that I was able to pay $5,000 a month, whatever it is here in the area, that's pretty, expensive for, but I have 3 kids to feed as well. And my husband also doesn't have a job. So you feel it. And it's really unfortunate because, even the people that are even less fortunate, also are hurting. So it's just a full gamut. I think we feel it more here in the city because we've been traveling all over the country all over September. But it's interesting because this is our city. I've lived here all my life, and you walk around and you hear it. You hear those stories.
Well,
it's heartbreaking.
you're talking domestic. We cut off foreign aid. They're starving in Ethiopia. They're starving in Sudan. And we have blood on our hands.
Yeah.
And we have, things in warehouses that have rotted and medicines that are out of date because, all the aid was cut off. So it's really hurt the U.S. reputation in the world. The idea should be to build bridges, not walls.
Yeah.
And this group is seemingly want to build walls. These tariffs are just gets all these other countries mad at us. And at the end of the day, by the way, we're at an interesting point. This case will be at the Supreme Court in October. It'll be argued. The briefs were due September 19th. And the court should find that the tariffs are unconstitutional, unlawful, illegal. The Congress has the power to do this. And guess what? They'll have to refund the $500 billion in tariffs they've collected so far.
And I think that money's been spent somewhere, I'd imagine.
Well, the point is we're at the edge of a financial cliff.
Yeah.
And Warren Buffett is sitting on $400 billion in cash in Berkshire Hathaway for a reason. He doesn't see things worth investing in. This is a bad situation that the administration has made worse. The markets don't like uncertainty. They don't like the tariffs, like you're saying. Yep. Consumers don't like to go to Costco and Walmart and see the prices are 30% higher. Yep. So it's inflation. Yep. You're dealing, and so that will come back to haunt the administration in the congressional elections next year.
So and for the entrepreneurs and business owners that are feeling the crunch, but also it just shows that everyone is calling at a certain point. And the key here is, as an entrepreneur,
this is Vietnam.
Well,
we heard you.
Do you
just
need to take that?
Who told you?
But even
they're knocking at your door already. Look at that. Careful.
Yeah. But as
a knocking at your door.
But for an entrepreneur, as crazy as things are, it's a place where you still have a little bit more control of your own destiny, right? You're able to say, hey, Washington is crazy, the international scene is crazy, but how can we rise above this and continue to take things to the next level? And I want to ask you a question to talk about your philanthropy journey, right? Because I know that's a big part of why you're going to India.
Sure.
But what advice do you give high achievers who want to pivot from success to significance? And tell us a little bit about your amazing project that you've been working on and your vision to go to India. Because I think when you have that push to give back, then the world delivers. So walk us down that road. Maybe a little less of a bumpy road.
Well, the idea is to live for something larger than yourself.
That's right.
And that's the key, is just get out of yourself and try to help other people. And I was in the Boy Scouts, was quite active. And the motto of the Boy Scouts is to always leave your campsite cleaner than the way you found it. Okay. You want to leave the world a little better than the way you found it. To me, that's the goal. So in 1983, my son got aplastic anemia, couldn't get a bone marrow transplant because there was no registry to find a match. Under the laws of genetics, it's 1 out of 4 that a sibling will be a perfect match, a brother or sister. And that's an argument for large families, by the way.
Yeah.
But if you don't have a related match, you need what we call an unrelated marrow donation. And so, but there was no registry at the time. So I
Wow.
went to Congress, and I went to then Representative Al Gore, actually, and worked with a group in Waxman, Mikulski. I had a whole group on the Hill as a lobbyist. Bad word, but used for a good purpose. And we got a bill passed called the National Organ Transplant Act, which set up the bone marrow transplant registry.
Wow.
And it's called Be the Match. You see it advertised all over.
Yeah.
And so it finds a match. If you can't find a sibling match or family match, you get a match. And half our business is international. We have marrows going back and forth all over the world,
Beautiful.
including Cuba.
Wow.
Was the first medical agreement with Cuba.
Wow.
And some little girl in Miami gets leukemia, needs a bone marrow transplant. We get the marrow in from Cuba,
Wow.
and vice versa.
Wow.
So I did that. And it was, so it's now gone all over setting up registries. Now India is my target. And
Wow.
India, with its population of 1.5 billion, we could save 500,000 lives a year in India if they'll do the registry, where you
Wow.
find a match. But they have different disease. It's called thalassemia. And thalassemia is a huge problem. It's not a problem in the US. It's a huge problem in India. They have blood cancers like leukemia and aplastic anemia also. But that's what I've done globally, is to set up the registry,
Wow.
because at the end of the day, we're all one human family.
That's right.
And how much better to connect do that way through marrow transplants. You become literally a blood brother and a blood sister.
That's
And
right.
it's
Wow.
cool. I think it's cool. I think it'd be cool to save 500,000 lives a year in India. The problem is they're unaware of it. They don't know about it. And it's just awareness. And
That's
it's
right.
very easy to get in the registry. You just swab. It's called swab. And our campaign is called Swab for Life. And you swab, and with a swab, we do the test, and we find the marrow match.
Wow.
And you're in the computer. It's back
Wow.
to IT, information technology. And it's then someone in Ethiopia could be a match.
Yeah.
And
And you've been nominated for 2 Nobel Peace Prizes for this incredible work.
well, in 2 different categories. One is peace, one is medicine.
Wow.
Wow.
And so, yeah, but it's always a work in progress. And it seems to me that someone looking at this whole scene on Earth from Mars would be amazed. Why are these people fighting? They're all
That's
came
right.
from the same cell bloodline, and now they're crazy fighting in Gaza, and, Congo, and it just goes on and on. And we're all one human family.
That's right.
And
Yeah.
that was my mission, really, is to
Wow.
point that out. And there's nothing more gratifying than meeting the husband or wife of someone whose life was saved by a match, find the match.
Mm.
So, yeah, it's called Be the Match. And we get federal money and support also, because
Amazing.
you want equal access to medical care, make sure everybody can get it.
Wow.
But it's a great story. And I enjoy going in India. We're dealing with Amrita Hospitals. It's the Hugging Mother, and she's sort of the Mother Teresa of India, and she's behind this.
Wow.
So I'm finding hospitals that'll support it, private donors, foundations, and I've been adopted. I'm being adopted by the Rotary there in India. The U.S. has a big
Wow.
presence, the Rotary in India, and so it's. But it all started here in D.C. in '83 with the bill.
Yeah.
Going back to
Wow.
Congress, why the fascination of this town, the power of this town.
Yes.
See, what's happened is the pendulum has swung from New York to Washington, and you're doing deals in both places. But now you're doing more financial deals in D.C. It's become more of an international deal center,
Yep.
and you have the biotech corridor in Maryland. You have the tech corridor to Dulles Airport, the high tech guys, and of course you have the defense industry here.
Mhm.
So back to space. That's so what I'm doing is I'm always looking for the next frontier, the next new thing.
Yeah.
And find it very exciting. I mean, I can't wait to get to work every day.
And you're
How
going to
impactful.
India, and then I know Kat, we were trying to get in your suitcase to get to the Vatican.
Yeah.
Yes.
But what is the connection with the Vatican? 'Cause-
Vatican is, we're very excited about the Vatican. We have Pope Leo. He's our boy. We got an American, finally got an American in there. And so he's a very important person in terms of influencing. I know you're an influencer. You want in that, but this is a serious influence.
Oh, yeah.
On
It's
over
pretty
a
high.
billion people. Yeah.
Yes.
This is
So this
godly
is-
influence.
Yes.
Yeah. So what we're
Yes.
doing is an interfaith dialogue
Wow.
Wow.
to bring the different religions together to
Wow.
talk about how we can cure some of these problems. And so, yeah, there is a cardinal from India, actually, who is in charge of interfaith dialogue, and we're working with him actually on that.
Amazing.
So,
Wow.
But I love going to Italy. I went to school in Bologna. My first year at Johns Hopkins was at the SAIS Bologna Center. And of course, date the girls, you had to learn Italian.
There you
So
go.
I learned Italian.
Very
It's been
quickly,
my
yeah.
most useful. Of course, half of the language is spoke with your hands. Smile
Yeah.
for me. So, it's an easy. But I had French. I had a lot of
Wow.
French. So it was easy to spin off from French and Spanish.
Yeah.
But I love Italy. So, going to the
That's
Vatican is going to be exciting
beautiful.
again. And
Oh.
I've been there, but this is really different now with an American in there.
Yeah.
Went to Villanova, majored in math. He's a
Yeah.
Chicago White Sox fan.
Wow.
He's our guy.
Yeah.
incredible.
Yeah, so it's a good. So I'm going to have a big October as we launch the registry in India, and then go to the Vatican.
Wow.
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 So do you see this as like a completion of this from 1983 when you started? I mean, beyond India, I mean, do you see bringing it to the rest of the world?
Africa, I'm dealing with Africa on that.
Amazing.
South Africa, Nigeria, they're the leaders in that area, and Africa is the same problem. I mean, they need. You're always looking for a cousin, so we'll have marrows going both ways to Africa too. And it's a global thing, really. So I'm very excited about it, and I find it. I go all over, meeting at the oncology centers here in the U.S.
Right.
and overseas. I went to the hospitals in India. It's very exciting to see, how you can build bridges through healthcare. Look at how do you build bridges to India? One of the ways
Right.
is healthcare. Obvious other ways, aid, defense, but there was an American who went over to teach them how to grow wheat, and they saved a lot of lives doing that. And I sort of
Wow.
see them parallel, save lives in the healthcare area.
Right.
But they like the awareness thing. The last trip I met with the Indian Society for Blood and Marrow Transplantation. And the doctors all said, "Wow, that's great. Go do it."
It's incredible.
So I got the doctors on the team.
Wow.
So what would you say for the entrepreneurs, business people that are watching this podcast? How do you, I mean, where do you start in finding that philanthropy side, or if they've hit a plateau? I mean, I'm sure, like you said, you like a roller coaster. You have highs, you have lows. Can you give us? I'm going to call them Bart-isms. Can you give us your top three that could be helpful to people who are watching?
Well, what you find in this business is it's very idiosyncratic. It starts with your family.
Well,
If
Yes.
something happens, like my sister, she passed away from brain cancer. So I've been very interested in that disease. I mean, if something in your family that
That's right.
you want to make a difference.
Sure.
And usually, and I find that in fundraising too, it's the same thing. Ted Leonsis, he owns the
Yep.
Wizards, the basketball and the hockey team. And at the time, he was number 2 at AOL, America Online. And he was very generous with us because his vice president had leukemia and needed a bone marrow transplant. He knew exactly what I was talking about.
Right.
Wow.
And then AOL opened up and became very generous with us and supported it. It's my foundation, Give Life Foundation. So,
Amazing.
so I'd say, look at your family for starters. What's going on? There may be a mental health issue. There may be your kid may be a hoarder. There's weird attention deficit disorder, ADHD. Is
Yes.
a big deal now, and it's not always recognized as a mental illness. But you see things in your family,
Yeah.
and you go from that, and then you see around you in school or in the workplace,
Yep.
and read the papers. I mean, you see problems. But I enjoy taking controversial cases. For example, I represented Sudan and the government of Sudan, and it was a real conversation stopper at cocktail parties. So someone would say to my wife, "Oh, we're so sorry, here Bart's representing Sudan." She'd say, "It's okay, they want to join the family of nations. What's wrong with that?" Fortunately, she stood beside me, but my office was picketed by my students, among others, for taking them because they were blamed for human rights abuses like Darfur, things like that.
Yep.
But I take controversial clients. Well, it's a challenge. I like the challenge.
Yeah. Would you say for an
I love it.
entrepreneur, what are the keys to moving that challenge from a challenge to a success?
Okay, you got to be out there. When you're out there, you're giving speeches, you're writing articles, you're writing books, you become a presence in the media. And I made a point of always being. I've written a lot of articles for both law journals or just op-ed pieces. I wrote an op-ed piece saying admit China to the WTO for the Washington Post in 2000, which I sorely regret because they came in and just butchered the whole system. But Clinton felt the same way. Bill Clinton wanted him in. We all wanted him in. We all hoped they'd become what Bob Zoellick used to call responsible stakeholders in the international system.
Right.
And guess what? It didn't happen.
Right.
Yep.
Right.
And my guess is the pandemic wasn't an accident.
Yeah. I mean, it's beautiful because, on those things, having communication, it moves things forward. And, but you have to also realize as an entrepreneur that it could take you back. But if you're able to just rise above those controversies as well, you continue on. And I think, in a lot of the entrepreneurial journey, people just stop and they say, oh, something's not happening right for me right there. Let me just stop. But you're a prime example of take on that confrontation and keep going and push forward and see what happens. And it's okay if you disrupt something and something messes up, like China and the WTO. It's, it's okay. It's okay. Like things happen and the world continues on. It's okay.
But
I'll
try India. No, that's exactly right.
Yeah.
And there's 194 countries out there. So
Yes.
I can skip around.
Yeah.
You keep going.
And
You
every
keep
5
going.
years there's a new one.
Yeah,
So I mean, it's,
it's
basically.
Satchel Paige, who used to pitch for the Cardinal for Negro League, said, "Don't look back; they may be catching up on you." So just keep moving forward.
That's right.
You stay one step ahead of the sheriff.
Yeah.
And it's beautiful because the other side of things is like the world is so much smaller when we have conversations on that global level. Especially doing having these high level conversations and just talking from the situation with your son, and then having someone in the future be able to transplant from different countries. All of a sudden, we're not so different. We're not so far apart. And so if we can mend those gaps, we can have better conversations, better things come out with humanity. But I think a lot of times, negativity can set in and it could say, hey, we're going to put a stop here. We need to just go back. We need to rethink. Let's think about this. No, like sometimes thinking also is, sometimes doing is really what action is what people need to do. Yes.
You can't just sit around.
That's right.
And you got to be out there. But one of the reasons I belong to the National Press Club is exactly, it puts me I know these people, the journalists who write, and I can win my case in the court of public opinion as well as the court of law.
Yeah.
And so the press club works for me as a tool in the toolkit. Well, you saw that day. I mean, people like to come to the press club.
Yes.
You'll meet diplomats, all kinds of people.
Yeah.
So, but no, as a lawyer, Admiral Zumwalt once said I was the most entrepreneurial lawyer he had ever met.
Yeah.
I try to use the law
great.
in an entrepreneurial fashion for entrepreneurs.
Yes.
And it can, I can use the antitrust laws, for example, to get the registry. I had to threaten certain hospitals with an antitrust action if they wouldn't share their marrows. So it's a restraint of trade. It's an article in Commerce.
Wow.
And it's okay.
You had to find the angle.
They don't want to get sued.
Yeah.
This is America. Everybody sues everybody.
Oh yeah.
And what I love about this is, if let's say you own a business or you're a fellow lawyer, you can still find that entrepreneurial touch, that angle to get things done and achieve, which is what you've done over and over again.
You're one of the most interesting persons that we've ever met. It's just so
It's
you
true.
must never get bored, Bart. You just
I don't get bored.
You must never
Bart, you
get
got to
bored.
can
You're
you tell us
so-
about the sweetest client you've ever had?
Uh,
He's insinuating something there.
No. I have a case now. The sweetest client is it's a lady from Albania. I'm handling 2 arbitrations on her behalf. She owns a company called Amadeus, which is a construction company, and they were going to be building a hotel, won a bid in Macedonia, which is next door.
Sure.
And the government of Macedonia expropriated their property. They took the property. And this happens all over the world in developing countries, particularly
Yes.
the whole government procurement process can be very corrupt. But I'm trying to help her. She's a wonderful lady, trying to help her get recovery of a lot of money because they took away her opportunity.
Wow.
That's
And
right.
one thing you learn in the Balkans is they all hate each other. So the Macedonians hate the Albanians, who hate this guy, hate that guy. And it becomes ethnic very quickly. And
Yeah.
a lot of bad blood. So my job is to help her recover her damage. She was very injured. And they are building another hotel, though, in Albania near the airport. So, I mean, but I love the name Amadeus. It brings
Yeah,
back
that's beautiful.
the right connotation. And they are artists.
Yeah.
And so we're looking for comparables of artistic hotels in Paris and London and other things that would be like the hotel they're building there in Albania and that they would have built in Macedonia.
Mm.
The land and location that was expropriated is under the statue of Alexander the Great in the central square of the city, and that's their central place heart. And he's their big hero, Alexander the Great. And I call her name's Elizabeth. I call her Elizabeth the Great.
Oh.
And she calls me Bart the Greatest.
Yeah.
And we have a good relationship. She's very sweet. And they're very nice people. I like to, my other case, I like to help people out. One guy, a buddy of mine for many years, he on his fifth marriage, he went to buy a wedding ring. So it's the famous wedding ring case. It came back looking like an NFL championship ring, not like the engagement ring you would be expecting.
Yeah.
And the wife to be was heartbroken. I mean, just cried and said, "Oh, how terrible!" So I had to get his money back. And the lady who did it is a shop here in Alexandria, actually, wouldn't give the money back. So we had to sue.
Wow.
And I took the ring up. I said, well, would you want this? So I won the case.
Yeah.
But that's the wedding ring case. And I said, you're an idiot.
Get it
5
back.
times you should know how to buy a wedding ring.
Actually, maybe
Now it's
by
going to
this
be
time-
6. It might be 6 after that.
I
Now
think
we're on the 6th.
Yeah.
he's giving up. Talking about sweet. I know. Tell us about your work with Mars.
Yeah, Mars is a private empire. At the time I started representing them, they were the largest privately held company in the country.
Wow.
And it started in Chicago in 1919 with Frank Mars. And they made M&Ms for the military in the World War II. So they had to find something that wouldn't melt in the backpack for the soldiers. And it's
Wow. Is that
no one in
how
the
it
world
started?
makes anything like an M&M.
Wow.
It's a sugar shell that is great. Melts in your mouth, not in your hand.
Yeah.
And at the time I started representing them, they sold 8 of America's top 10 candy bars. Milky Way, Mars, Snickers, Twix, Summit, Trophy, it goes on and on.
Wow.
And so I, as their lawyer, a trade lawyer, I worked on every commodity that went into a Snickers. Sugar, dairy, peanuts, lecithin, synthetic lecithin, cocoa butter, anything that went in that Snickers, I did.
You're a basic chef here.
Yeah.
And I once wrote a brief for the Federal Trade Commission proving that a Snickers was better for you than an apple. And the reason was the FTC. Oh, this is a great story.
That's
I'm glad you asked
awesome.
that. The Federal Trade Commission proposed the KidVid rule. They were going to ban children's advertising on cereals and confectionery. You may remember this. And it was called the KidVid rule. And it was Mike Perchuk and social do-gooders thought this would, that kids were gullible, and they saw an ad for Pops, Twix, or Summit or something. So Mars had a problem. I mean, children's advertising is the essence of the business.
Right.
So Tommy Boggs and I went to the Hill and we said, you know what? We need to cut off the appropriation to the Federal Trade Commission unless they drop this. And they said, okay. And what you learn, if there's one thing an agency wants, it's its budget. They want money or they can't be an agency. So they dropped the rule. So we still have children's advertising.
Yeah.
That's great.
Another one I had was in Alaska. I represented the Trans-Alaska Pipeline. It's called TAPS. And the environmentalists were very upset about it. And they said, well, you're going to mess up the wildlife. And I wrote a brief memo describing how the caribou love to make love under the pipelines. It was warm and everything. So we got the pipeline. So
encourages.
I'm creative. I told you.
Yes. There's always an
The
angle.
whole point is, what's the argument? What's the hot button? It's going to get someone's attention. But the appropriations gets everyone's attention. Because if you cut off the budget for the agency, I mean, that's powerful.
Yeah.
And we did that.
That's brilliant.
It took 2 weeks.
Wow.
And they realized they were not going to have a budget.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So the other,
You're
the
like
other,
a master at doing that. Oh, it's incredible. But I think the other side of things, I think as business owners,
Mhm.
we try to find those types of ways to overcome obstacles along the
Sure.
journey, and
Sure.
I think as entrepreneurs, most entrepreneurs are if you've been an entrepreneur long enough, you get very scrappy. You get very scrappy, and you find creative ways, and that's really what it's all about. And then I think, I don't know if you agree with this statement, but then also having the right connections and having the right circle around you, as you said with the National Press Club, and having those, those other things are ways to kind of successfully align you in what you're trying to accomplish as well. Because, if your mission is to do something, you had this 3 C's, right? And we added comedy, but really communication. We have the compromise, and then there's that community aspect too. So maybe there's another fourth
it's a
C,
fourth C.
which would be community, like the people around you that can help you,
Oh,
bring
sure.
your mission forward.
Sure.
Because maybe if you had not known a certain person or whatnot, it wouldn't be able to propel you that way. Even knowing you and, Lori and certain people in our lives have gotten us even to this interview, which
Right.
is,
As Bart was saying, be in the right lobbies or in the right places.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're sitting at home trying to
Yeah.
get to the next step, obviously now we have internet and social media, so you do have a fighting chance. But
Yeah.
you really have to be out there and be in the right places to connect with the right people, right?
Yeah.
The right places with the right people at the right time.
Yeah, but I'm all zoomed out. I don't
Yeah.
mind telling you.
Yeah,
I always commuted downtown to work. I go to work.
Yeah.
We all thought we had to go into the office, right?
Yeah.
We go to work.
yeah.
Pandemic changed everything. All of a sudden, I'm at home, and I'm doing 5 Zoom meetings a day, and that's heavy lifting. But I have to dress up just from the waist up for the Zoom. It's all stupid, But it changed my whole lifestyle. So I just go in now for appointments. But I'm a relationship person. I want
That's
to
right.
meet people,
Yeah.
and I do deals in person.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I don't like the Zoom thing at all.
Yeah.
I'd
Yeah.
much rather meet somebody.
But
Yeah.
even with AI coming now and all these
Yeah,
digital
yeah.
twins and all this stuff, I think we're coming into an age too now where people are going to want that connection more. You're zoomed out. I'm zoomed out. We're zoomed out
I'm
all the
zoomed out,
time.
man.
Oh, it's too
burnout.
much. And I think even you see that in students, students that were going through everything in COVID and had to do university on Zoom. Like you see that, like, people need the human connection. And even though people are watching this podcast and not maybe going as social as they could, there's so much benefit in being in person, feeling that person's vibe,
To me, that's
seeing
that's
how
I do a
they,
deal. Do a
if
deal.
it feels good.
Yeah, I don't
right?
think $1 million or
And body
even
language.
$100,000
Yes.
deals are getting done over Zoom.
I think you
people
realize
need to get in.
things-
They have to get
Yeah.
into the same room and feel
Yes,
the energy.
yes.
But there's
Um,
other things you pick up also being in person too. Like being in the same room as I'm talking to you, Bart, and I see Lee over here on the other side and he mistreats like a server or something like that. You see that. You can't see that in Zoom. Or, and so it
Yes.
also brings the authentic person forward. And
Yeah.
it's like, okay, well, I can do business with that person, but maybe not that person. Or, and that's something that you kind of lose of the online stuff.
Oh, totally.
You can't pick up on those
No.
signs. It's just what you see on the little
Yeah.
tiny screen. And so, but as somebody who's always looking for the future, what do you think on that side of things, a digital twin thing and the rights on that side? I mean, people are now uploading their brain onto this computer that, anybody can hack into, anybody can, like, what do you think on that side
Well, I
of things?
think that AI can be a force for good. It can be a force for not good.
Right.
And we have to be very careful how we regulate it, how we use it. And it can have a very negative impact. Like you can, through AI, make up a video about you that's not true, but may not be flattering. You say, I don't like that.
Right.
So you lose control of your own image.
Yeah.
And to me, that's a real problem. And so, yeah, we have to have some regulation that protects your image,
Yeah.
your rights of privacy.
Yeah.
And but AI, I mean, you look at China for how it can go wrong. They have surveillance cameras everywhere.
Mm.
They have faces on the one index. They have a social credit index, social credit based on how, if you jaywalk, you're a bad person. That point is negative. You don't want to live like that.
Oh wow,
No.
we'd get negative points. I think we just did that in New York at some point.
Yeah, you don't want to live like that.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
But they
it's
have
kind of
a-
what point is it too much? And
Yeah.
it's we have our you were at the conference. We had our digital twins introduce us. And for those of you guys that don't know what a digital twin is, with our partners at Angel AI and Twin Protocol, who did not pay for that
Shout
plug,
out.
in case you're watching, guys. But anyway, it's basically the digital version of yourself. So it can it speaks as you and starts to learn what your mannerisms are. But
And then in the future, it will have conversations with the other person's twin,
correct.
and kind of speak on your behalf. And so that's kind of interesting because it's like, okay, these digital twins that are talking to each other, and then all of a sudden they're like, hey, Lee and Kat should be married. Like, it's weird.
Well, there's amazing. Let's look at an investor conference. You have 1,000. We all go to that event. You have 1,000 people.
Sure.
They each have their twin. Well, before the event, those 1,000 twins will have a twin meetup, and then
Yeah.
you'll get a report from you saying, "Hey, Bart, these are the top 10 people you should talk to do business with," because the twins have already connected. So the concept is to save time. I think that's the good part of it. But the bad part of it, it could be obviously used with your image if you don't want it in other spectrums. I think there was a case where a actor, they had used AI instead of using a stunt double without their approval.
Hmm.
So now artists are having to put in their contracts, no AI,
Yeah.
versions of myself without my approval.
Yeah.
Because
Big
at some
issue.
point they can do the whole movie without them.
Yeah, big issue in Hollywood, and that's
Yeah.
why they had the strike last time.
Yeah.
Actors didn't want to have that happen to them.
Yeah.
Take away their whole image, likeness.
So Bart, what is your next endeavor after space? Is there another planet or another universe that you're gonna?
Yeah, what's next?
What is the next big thing for you, Bart?
I'm into lightning.
Mm.
I represent a group that
You don't hear that every day.
Yeah.
I'm into lightning.
I'm into lightning. You think of all the damage, largely due to climate change from lightning, property damage, human life lost. And company I represent has the technology to keep the lightning from striking. In other words, as a thundercloud comes over, it'll have negatively charged particles at the bottom of the thundercloud. And on the top of your house or on the ground, you have positively charged particles. And that's what makes a strike.
Wow.
Our technology emits negatively charged particles as the thundercloud advances, and it keeps the negative particles from lightning doesn't strike.
Wow.
Now, it may move down the street, but
Yeah.
that's not my problem. It's like if you have roaches in your house and you put down roach poison, the roaches may go next door.
That's
But
right.
that's not your problem.
How big of a distance does it cover?
But lightning's a big issue, and we're working on, and I'm collaborating on a paper, in fact,
It's amazing.
for
Wow.
Science Magazine on
Wow.
lightning prevention. The lightning rod was invented by Ben Franklin 270 years ago. It's the iconic American invention, is the lightning rod. Okay, but if you think about it, it's really a stupid invention because it attracts lightning, gives it a safe path to the ground, but along the way your house gets torched. So it's not the greatest invention, but there's a group of everyone in America, the mom and pop industries who make lightning rods. They don't like, this is from South Korea, they don't like the invention because they're saying, well, it's their business. Now, we have the patents. They have over 100 patents on lightning prevention
Wow.
technology.
Wow.
And so there's a standard, there's a group called NFPA, National Fire Protection Association. I actually call it National Fire Promotion Association because they've kept the standard for what's called Franklin rod is the
Wow.
standard in America. But if you go to Europe or South Korea, other places, our lightning rod is in place.
Wow.
So working on the adoption around the world of something that will stop lightning from striking.
Do you become an
Wow.
expert in speaking about these topics? Like
Yes.
before this lightning client came to you, did you have any care about
No,
lightning?
it's funny you should say that because he said you're the first person who's really tried to figure this out.
Yeah.
And I was intrigued by how he came to that invention, his whole philosophy behind it. And my wife says my two defining characteristics are I'm curious and discontented. So I was very curious how this thing worked. And
Yeah.
so we're on top of the Latte Tower. It's the tallest building in Seoul, South Korea,
Wow.
as a demonstration. And it's for the last 7 years. And lightning has not struck that building.
Wow.
Wow.
And we want to do a demo here at the Empire State Building. Same kind of idea.
Wow.
So you need testing, of course. People
Right.
won't take it on faith that it keeps the lightning from
Sure.
striking. But our tests are the key.
Right.
And we're going to be reporting on our test results in
Wow.
Science magazines coming out.
Oh,
Amazing.
wow.
So,
And
yeah,
this
I'm
is
into
going to be a
lighting.
product for
That's
the everyday
amazing.
consumer. This will be something like, the couple that lives in Tampa, where Florida, I think, probably has the most lightning strikes in the
Do they
country. If
really?
I had to make a guess.
Oh, yeah, Florida, yeah.
Mm.
But is this going to be a consumer product?
Oh, yeah, yeah. We're, now that I got the standard changed, it took 10 years, we're getting distributors in
Wow.
Florida, mainly, actually,
Wow.
places where lightning strikes a lot.
Wow.
So the hockey team's called the Lightning. I mean, it's a big deal down there.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, but due to a lot more extreme weather events now,
Yeah.
due to climate change.
Sure.
That's right. That's right.
So,
That's right.
so I'm into lightning.
Wow. You have a lot of work, Bart. You have a lot of amazing work that you're doing. It's
Well, you want to be in the
fascinating.
right place at the right time. Hope lightning strikes
Yeah.
the right way, in the right way.
That's right. That's right.
And that's what happened
Amazing.
when I met you.
Yeah.
Lightning struck.
That's right.
So that's
That's
great.
right.
Well, we clicked.
You, automatically.
Automatically.
Automatically. It was as if I'd known you for
Yeah, it's like,
like 20 years. It was
she
it was
cut through all my
insane.
little bullshit
Yeah.
routines. She had no compunction standing me up for lunch for a week down the road.
Yeah.
So I said, that's fine. But the worst part was when you got on and said, yeah, we want to go. And we don't need you.
Yeah. And then Bart said,
I
"Oh,
said,
great!
"Where's the husband
There's
gonna
a third
say,
wheel
do
coming
the
along."
right thing.
Right.
No. He just reinforced your desire to
Well,
go to the richer guy.
You know, well, what
It's
happened?
okay, I can deal. It's my son said.
We
I
gotta
can
tell
deal.
that story. it was lunch, and then it was literally like calling Bart on the way as we were going. Well, as we had arrived already at the airport, I
Oh,
believe,
sure.
and we were like, "Hey, Bart,
We
by
were
the
in
way,
Florida.
we won't be able to make lunch because we got invited to a billionaire's."
We were actually getting
Billionaire's
interviewed
dinner.
on the #1 entrepreneur business podcast in the country, Paul Alex's
Yes.
podcast, which has 4.5 billion views, listens.
Oh
a
no,
month.
no! I'm sorry. No, you know what? We're mixing up the time. If time just flies. You know why? You know why we flew to Florida that day?
No, we
Because we had Paul Hutchinson's book release. We got invited by
Oh.
Jordan and Doru.
I don't know. There's been a lot
There's
of trips
so many
to Florida.
trips to Florida
But
recently.
either way,
That's
it was
what
a
it
very
was.
good.
Either way.
It was a very
It's
good
what we
reason
call
to miss
late
lunch.
notice.
It was
Yeah.
very late notice. I think it was like an hour before. I was like, Bart, do not leave your house.
So that's okay. Well, we made up.
But yeah, I
We
mean,
made
we've had a lot of lunches after that,
We
but
made
it was great.
Yeah.
No, you're wonderful
And
and
I
very
think-
forgiving. So I mean,
And I
we'll
think-
add that to your list, your wife's list of
Yeah,
your
right.
attributes.
Forgiving.
Yeah,
After the-
forgiving.
The 2 C's.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, laughter. Yeah.
And
Laughter's
Yeah.
important, and I think deals get done in fun places. People. That's why you look at most of your major conferences in the country are in Orlando or Vegas or
Sure. Sure.
on a bougie golf course. Why? Well, because people like to be in places that are relaxed. I don't think deals are getting done in boardrooms as much as they used to be, just because post-COVID, as people want to kind of get out of the office setting. So just having a chance, if you're looking for that deal or the funding or the next idea, like Bart said, it's just being present and putting yourself out there. How many
Gotta be
books
out
do you have
there.
now, Bart? 20? 10?
How many books do you
written?
have?
I think you
Wow.
told us 10.
5.
5, okay.
Wow.
5 books.
You're a wealth of knowledge, though. That's one thing. If I ever have to ask you about anything, even lightning, I know who to contact. I know exactly who to contact.
where to go.
Yeah. You're amazing, Bart.
Well, it's been amazing. Is there anything that you want to leave us with? We did have this crazy idea that since it's the Find Your Rhythm podcast, that we would ask our guests what their favorite dance move was.
Dance move. I don't want to date myself. But no, you guys are the dancers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, no.
But what would you say is something that you would want to leave to the entrepreneurs, the business people, the movers and shakers of the world, how to continue on their journey?
Well, I think the thing is, in economics, we call it the law of comparative advantage. What is your comparative advantage? What is it you do better? Why would anyone call you as a lawyer instead of somebody else?
Mm.
Okay. The answer is the world has gotten more specialized. You need to have knowledge, and it's getting more and more specialized and particular. So you have to, and I'm a great believer in joint degrees. I mean, just learn more and never
Yes.
stop learning. I mean, Michael Crichton once said, I write to learn. I practice law to learn. I learn every day. You never stop learning, and you stay curious and discontented.
Amazing. I
love
love that. I love that. I love that. You're such a people connector also. I think that's the other attribute, and a relationship driven person as well. And so we admire that about you. The curiosity side is, I think that's what we connect on as well. I'm a very curious person. We're very curious people. And then Lee has a tenacity of I don't know what. He's just super tenacious. So it's
Oh.
you're inspirational though. It's very you've done a lot and you keep learning, and that's something that I think is admirable because a lot of times, even as entrepreneurs, we plateau, and then you get stuck in the same thing and you don't learn anymore. And you're like, I've made good money, but there's always that next level. There's always that next frontier.
Well, I can't believe what you guys do, events. I put on like tennis tournaments, charity tournaments. You don't know if it's going to rain the day of the tournament. I mean, just putting on events is a scary thing.
Yes.
See?
It is.
Yeah. You didn't know if I was going to show up today. I mean, you never know if the speaker's going to show up. And when you lobby, it's really scary. You don't know if the senator's on the floor for a vote. The client doesn't understand they have to vote, and they're not always here for you. So it's you just have to learn to be flexible, shift, adjust. But to do events like what you do, I mean, I just my heart would stop every time because you don't know what could happen or who's going to show up, who's going to come.
Oh, very
The
true.
one I was at,
Wino?
motivator was late coming, and you did your little ad lib thing until she came into the building. You
Oh
remember?
yeah. Yeah,
Yes.
we had our whole intro video play, and
Yeah, we
then
had that. It did intro video, and then we were stuck with you, and then she came finally.
yeah, she
But
did.
I could see you. Oh my God! You
It
know,
was like, is she in the building? Is she coming? Somebody
Yeah,
go get her. But he
yeah.
was so natural at
but
doing.
he handled
Oh
it. I
yeah.
would have
Oh
melted.
yeah.
I mean,
Oh
he
yeah.
handled
Same.
it smooth as
Same.
silk, yeah.
Mhm,
Many
mhm.
fires over the years, but we couldn't have, I think, had a better first guest of the Rhythm Investor podcast. So thank you for
Thank
Thank
you,
you.
Bart.
taking time and giving us your
Thank you so
wisdom
much.
and stories. And
I'm sure people are gonna want more. We'll have to do more of these because it's
yeah,
just.
how do people find you, Bart? So
Yeah.
if people are more interested to learn about the travels and tribulations of Bart Fischer, where do they go?
Well, I have a website actually. It's www.bartfischer.com,
Okay.
which
Love
is my law office website, but it goes on and describes what I'm doing,
Amazing.
including philanthropic stuff. So yeah, that's
Amazing.
the website.
For sure. So, guys, follow Bart's website. We are so thankful and grateful to have Bart here on our first episode. And tune in. We'll be doing many more of these with amazing souls like Bart. And I think that's it for us.
That's it. So that's a wrap on the first Rhythm Investor podcast. Thank you. We'd like to thank Junaid for letting us work here in this beautiful studio, and make sure you check out all the things he's doing as well. And guys, it's a wrap. My name is Lee Edward Smith.
I'm Kat Aguilar Smith.
This is the Rhythm Investor podcast, where we interview movers and shakers who are living life unapologetically unconventional. Till next time, see you guys.